Hey, welcome back. History of Design, Session 5, Part 2. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna do the International Typographic Style piece that you have to do. But I want you to watch me go through it again. I'm gonna throw in tricks and tips and kind of show you how I work. I have been learning and working on things, and one of them is like, I do watch other professional designers, and it's all like, I'll do some Skillshare, do some YouTube. And that's what I'm doing here. So you don't have to, but it's directly related to what you're working on. So if you watch my video, you'll get things correct and you'll learn tips along the way. I'm still getting a lot of people who are stalling at the front end of the design process of getting your design built right, which is very important to having it end right when it goes to print. We're not thinking, there's not enough thought put into the end product right now. And oddly, I picked this video by Aaron Draplin. You should look him up. Famous designer, does some great things. Look him up. But I watched his video. I started to watch his video, and it's 777. It's 7 pre-tips to get your studio, your online, your screens the way you want them when you're designing. Part 2 is the design process. Part 3 is post and getting things correct in the end. So when you go to print, it prints the way you want to, instead of the way you don't want to, and then you have to pay money. That was horrible phrasing right there. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna just jump right in. I did a little working on this, but not much. So I'm going to jump right on in. So I'm going to go to, I'm an Illustrator because this is and then next week I'll do a PD InDesign one. So the International Typographic Style, I'm starting there. I need a new file. I need it to be print, which sets that CMYK. I can change my points to inches, and then it needs to be 7 wide by 5 tall. And when you see that click across like that, I'm hitting the tab. Again, what features can you do to speed up your design process? That was part of what this Aaron Draplin was talking about. The less you have to keep moving across and you can just do little taps or have things close, that adds up in time. So we try to do stuff. So you can do it on the internet as well. If you're ever filling out one of those forms and you have to like go through it and you have to click each part, just hit tab and it'll automatically go to the next one. And it works in these as well. So here I, 0.25. And if I back out, because I need a 1/4 inch bleed. Now we got to really talk about this bleed some more too. This bleed's getting everybody thrown all off. So 7 inches wide, 5 inches high, and a 1/4 inch of bleed, 0.25. There you go. Set up the document. Then I'm going to hit create. Now I want to go to layers and I want to start this margin layer. I'm going to call it margin. I'm going to draw a box that's 6.5 by 4.5. Again, I'm going to just start and I can just draw a box. And up here at the top or in properties, I can just type in the size. And it's sometimes just easier if you know the size. And again, I'm hit tab and hit enter. Now you have to make sure, where are you with this, right? What is this symbol? Locking, unlocking. So these 2 chains mean it's locked. So that means if I was to change this to like 7 and hit tab, it's going to proportionately make the other size the same size. So if you're working on stuff and this is locked and you're not paying attention, all your stuff is going to be wrong. So you got to pay attention to that. I usually don't have that locked. So I go back to 6.5, tab 4.5, enter. And again, you can do that over here as well. Now I wonder if I click that. No, that's nothing. I can tell you more about these little dots. Just reference where it's going to scale from. So I usually scale to this top corner because I'm doing big things and I want them to get smaller this direction. A lot of people will keep it centered. I think that's the way its default is in the center, but I always have it top right. Why? Personal design preference. So another one of those, look at those things and kind of be observant of like what's doing what and why and how can I change that. Now I got this margin and here's the big one. Everybody forgets to turn off the fill. We're looking at white on white, so we're like, it's not fill. No, there's a white there. Just because our artboard is white doesn't mean that this is clear. It always starts with a color. So make sure that it has that red line. That red line's like a stop. You know, don't do it. There's nothing there. So make sure that that margin has nothing in it and the stroke is magenta. Again, why magenta? It's kind of the industry standard. I'm not just picking a color, but you'll see when you get documents set up, all the margins and the guides and the folds, and we're going to get to folds, are specifically just the straight up color from like the CMYK library, because it just is easier to pull those out, or it's easier to know. It's rarely, you know, I'm going to say it's like rarely would you have a design that's all magenta, but then you just change your margin. So again, make sure there's no color. That fill should have a red line through it. Easy peasy. All right. And then I'm just going to center that on the artboard. I'm going to turn on my rulers. Command or Control R. If those rulers aren't on, get them turned on. Easy. And then we're going to pull a guide. One from the top, one from the side. Now I know, I'm going to do a better job than that. Now I know the positioning of everything, where my dead center is. I got my margin and it's all looking good, but I'm not done. I got to set this margin, not as a regular layer, but I want it as a template. I don't want anything to show up. So I just hit template and then it locks it and we're done. So number one thing I'm seeing is people aren't turning the margin box white, or they're turning it white and it should be clear. Just like the crop marks. Most people are getting crop marks right. How can you not get the margin right? So I'm going to look at crop marks. And again, I'm just going to pull box. I'm starting in that corner to that corner. Go to properties. There's no fill because I made it from the margin. So then when I go to the stroke and make it no fill, that's one less step. So if you're doing a second step there, double check your margin and make sure that there's nothing there. And then I just go to FX and I go to crop marks. Boom, they're in there. But Joel, when I export it as a PDF, it'll put crop marks on it. Sure, it will. But sometimes the printer, whoever's going to print it or whoever's going to process this afterwards, may not want a PDF. They may want your original design files, into which then you should include crop marks on your file. InDesign doesn't do it. That's a different ball of wax. They know that, or they'll somehow set it a different way, but you put them in. Why? Because you know they're there. And then if something messes up, you can say, but I had the crop marks in. And they can be like, oh, you did. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. We're wrong. We'll fix it. We'll expedite it. It's not your problem. It's ours. All right. So that was the crop marks. Easy peasy. Everybody's getting the crop marks right. Again, if you want the, different crop marks, you go to Illustrator, settings, PC, it's under file, I think, but you go settings, general, and I use Japanese crop marks. Why? Because still today I hang things on the wall here at MATC, and it's easier for me to cut out stuff with the bleed if I can see the double crop marks. That's what all it is. It's a double crop mark. So now I want to make a title. Let's go through all the layers. I want images. I want paragraph. And I want background. Now again, I know, well, all these change. I want the background at the back. And all these change, but you should just get used to always doing this, making sure your order is like margin and crop marks are at the very top. These can be whatever order you want, okay? All these backgrounds should be at the back. I don't care about the order of those, but know your order. You know what? Know that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste some stuff in. Title, I'm just going to go to the assignment and copy the title name. The International Typographic Style. And then I'm going to use point type for this. I'm just going to tap once and paste in. Point type means that it is adjustable, but not a paragraph. Area type is that fill one that we talk about. So that's that. I got my paragraph. And so I found a really nice paragraph. It's actually because International Design Style is the same as Swiss style. So I'm going to go to my paragraph. And then for this one, I'm going to pull. I'm going to make a box and I'm going to paste my stuff in. Now, I have it right now, before I do anything else. I'm going to go to properties and under paragraph, I'm going to make sure that this is not hyphenated. See that? I have mine preset. I showed you guys how to preset that. So every time I open a document, that is now like that. And there's other ways to preset documents for yourself. I could really go into that, but you kind of have to start designing and learning a little bit to know like how you want it. The big part is setting up this workspace to work for you. And one of those, I will tell you this, is I do not use this contextual bar ever because there's a contextual bar here, and then there's a contextual bar here, and there's a contextual bar here, and this one just floats around. And so I'm just gonna hide that. I really don't use it. I keep it on as familiarity for newer people because it pops up, and I don't want to discourage it, but I don't use it. And so I would remove it. I'm seeing actually a couple items in my toolbar that I get rid of. Like I don't use the grid and I never use the morph. So the less tools I can get here, the better. But then there's people, then you can do, there's certain things that if you're like, my favorite tools are these. You can pull those out and then have those like next to it. So if you're always using the pen tool, you can have these exposed, and then that way when you like go and you're using the pen tool, it's all out there and you know what you're doing. For me personally, I don't find the need to have those exposed. When I see other people, they have it and it's a nice little arc. But again, you need to condense when you have a smaller screen. And when you get to bigger screens, you can expand some of these to have them always out. So I have my title, I have my type in. Let's go do some images, and then I'm going to do a cool background trick, and I'm going to work with the paragraph of type. So I have my images, and I'm going to place them in, and I went and got a ton. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to see if all these place. If they don't, I'll just go in Photoshop. But now again, there's that thing where I said I scale from the corner. So what does that mean? Is when I grab all these. So when you see those dotted lines show up, I'm clicking and dragging and just getting the corners. And I know all 4 of these are selected. Now I want to scale them. So if you look at that little dot right there, it's going to keep this. It's going to bring everything to this corner. And that's like the spot that cannot move. So I'm just going to go to scale. And when I do this, I really quickly, super quick, 25, enter. I don't care. And oddly, it did not scale right, but we'll find them. So I just zoom out. And it actually went to the opposite corner, which is really confusing. But what did I do? Where did they go? Just zoom out a ton. You know what I mean? Like it's there. Everything is always there. Now this one, I want to scale. What am I going to hold down? Shift. We never not hold shift. Now I have like 20 pictures here. And only one is that beep because I was putting it off of the visual artboard. So I'm going to get these just for me visually, like not even like, I'm just sizing them and just so I can see them all, because I'm going to end up clipping these all out. But I want to see them and be like, what do I want to include? I'm just looking for general sizes. Now, so I have now all my images. And I want to work on background. Now, when I started this piece, when I was thinking about this the other day, when I was doing the first lecture, I have something in mind. I saw a piece and I was like, oh, I like, it was a Nautilus shell. And I was like, oh, okay, I like that. So what can I do with that? And I kind of like, anybody who's doing like internet, if they did international design style, like all these older ones, they're like back in the day, they're really like grainy images because that's all they had. Like the halftone was the way to do it, but you can also add color, and sometimes there's color in them. So I was thinking about that, and I like went to light blue, and so I got this idea. So what am I going to do? Well, I found a Nautilus shell, and it's just for show. And it's partly because I want to just do this. So I found it in Adobe Stock, and I found this. And all I did was I went to edit or image mode grayscale. Discard. And then I saved the version in black and white, which is here. All right, so I have my black and white version. All it is a Nautilus shell, black and white. I know where it is. Yeah, I was just double checking. Is it in the cloud? Yeah. So on my background, I'm going to place it, File. And this is where I'm going to be artsy with it. All right, hold on. Always helps to be on the right layer that you want to place when you can't see it. You're like, how come I can't see where it is? Well, you got to be on the right layer. All right, let's see, 126. Oh, all right. Oh, it's in my downloads. That's dumb. Okay, that's why. So I have it, and all I put when I resaved it, I put a little BW, black and white. And then so I have this. Now I don't think I want it over the whole thing, but I do. I'm going to use my favorite cyan color. But what I'm going to do is I kind of want it. And here's the big thing. I want it to bleed off. And so it's going to go off the page. And when I work in the background, everything must go to this red line. Color, images, stripes. If I just like want a line that goes across, but I want it to go to the border. I got to zoom in. There, I wasn't getting that middle one. And I want it to be like, yeah, it's like coming in from the edge. Then this line needs to go all the way to the red mark. That way, when there's a printing error and they shift it over a little bit, it will still have a line and there won't be a white break. It's common practice. Everything, because things shift around when they print. It's never as perfect as you think it'll be. You'll get to a point you're like, I want it absolutely, and it's never. They can't when they're doing thousands of prints, things shift. This is our safety net. The bleed is your print safety net. That's why it's so important. So like, I'm going to start that like that. But let's do something cool with this. Because it's a black and white image, I want to halftone it, and I want to make them nice dots. So you can do that directly in Illustrator. And so, and then I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to go to, I'm selected the image. I'm going to go to Effect. I'm going to go to Pixelate, and I'm going to go to Color Halftone. Even though it's black and white, it's Color Halftone. Now I went in and I changed all of mine to 45. These are channels, mean channel 1. So I can't tell you which one they are associated with, but it's generally C, M, Y, and K. But because I have only one color, black, I just changed them all to 45 just for peace of mind. And then you can adjust this size. When you start it, it's at like 8, and I'll show you 8, and then I'll do 16, and I'll do 24. So 8, and I'm gonna hit OK. And it starts it, all right? It's got a half tone, but I want it to stick out a little bit more. So I'm just gonna undo, and then I'm gonna go to Effect, Pixelate, Color Halftone. And how do you learn about these things? You know what? I wanted to do it, and I looked it up. I knew there was a way to do it, and I looked it up. Even the great Aaron Draplin mentions in his video, he's like, yeah, so when you're working, and he was working about moving and how to work more efficiently, he goes, yeah, jump on the YouTube, figure out that thing that you want to do, then close it, and then come back to work. So even he does it. Like, everybody does it. Like, I want to do this effect. Just type it in. You'll find somebody who did the effect. I think this is pretty good. Let's see what 24 does. Because you know what? It's 3 clicks. And I'm trying to even do this with explanation within 1 hour. That's too much. No, I kind of like it. No, I'll stick with the 16. It's never perfect the first time. So I'll stick with that. Now here's the cool part. I'm going to leave it as an image, and then I'm going to go to properties and look at that. The fill, wah, wah, wah. I can pick my own. And I'm going to do that. Now I want to fill the rest of it. I want to fill the rest of the background. So I'm going to go big, go big or go home. It's got to be all the way to those bleeds. I can still see the border, you know, and I'll show you a cheat. I got a cheat for you. If you're like, but I don't like designing and seeing all that stuff. It's hard. Yeah, it does. So until you get used to it, I'll give you a cheat. And then I want to send this to back. And there it is. Look at that. And then if I wanted to, I can tone it down. If I don't want it that bright, whatever I want to do, I can do. So say you like, but I absolutely hate designing with that. This is what I do. Above the margin, I create a layer and I call it like gray out. Then I make a box that goes up to that line. And I click on the background color and I just duplicate it. Now here's the thing. You must turn it into a template for this to work. So then I go to gray out, I go to template. Now, when I work, I'm only seeing the art box, but you also have to still pull everything to the far bleed, but you can see it a little more clearly, like this is how I'm working. So then when I go and I'm going to do my title, and I'm going to do my title bar, and I want a big chunky font, so I'm going to use like, I don't think I have Helvetica on this computer. No, instead of being, look, what I got? Oh, do I have Helvetica Black? Let's look. I got like, the problem is I have like 40 types of Helvetica. And I don't have black. I have a condensed black, but I want a regular black. All right, I'll just use black. So I'm gonna then probably, this has 5, this has 14. I'm gonna do this one. And then so it's international, the international typographic, and I'm gonna line mine up and I wanna make it bigger. And again, it's it's point type. And I'm going to be like a little, I want to go like 3/4 of the way. And then I was thinking, I'll like do it like this. And then I want to do like a black. So I want to put a black line behind it. I'm going to turn the type white. But so what I'm going to do is I started my black line way off the page. Okay. And then that's black. And I'm going to send it to back, which is just for using properties, arrange, send it back. So if you, again, I'm used to going everywhere, but if you really use these properties, this new arrangement, just know like each, like start to train your hand. Like you only have to go here or here. And then I want the type, and I want the type to be white. And then I'm going to use my arrow keys and tap it down. And then I can take this and tap it down. And then what I'm not, and I'm looking, you know what, I'm using visuals here to help. Like it looks centered. Is it centered? But you know what, because there's ascenders and descenders that I'm just kind of like visually looking at it. Because my area type box, if I center it, see how much more room there is at the bottom than there is the top? So what the computer is going to do is it uses this blank space and says, well, that's part of the centering too. So all I'm trying to do is visually center it. So I have the International Typographic Style. And I got this weird Nautilus shell in there just to be in there. And then I'm going to start pulling in images. So I can get the images in, and then I can do the typography. Is this going to be the best piece I've ever created? No. But it'll work. So I want these. And these. These I don't need. But these I want to cut out. And so I need 3 of each. And cut out mean I want a clipping mask. So I'm going to zoom in. Right? Don't clipping mask from far away. And when you clipping mask, you can also clip some off. So I'm going to get my cursor there, and I'm going to readjust twice. There, and I'm going to pull it in. See how I'm just leaving just a little of that edge? That's fine. And then I'm just going to grab both. Object, clipping mask, make. I got the film. And then I'm going to zoom out, go back over, and I'll do this one. And again, just all I'm going to do, just a pixel or 2 in. I'd rather be in just a pixel or 2 than the opposite and showing white or border. And then I'm going to do that. Object, clipping mask, make. Go find another one. And you can always adjust it afterwards. Object, clipping mask, make. See, I have no, oh, I can see. Look at that. Look at that. I have white. I don't want that. So I can just, I'm going to take the direct select tool. I'm going to get right on that path, and I'm going to use my right arrow and tap it once to clean that up. There's no reason why you can't do that. You know, like we have the power. And even when I say like this project, you should, you know, do within an hour, hour and a half, you have the time to do this. I'm doing it right now. And just becoming familiar with the tools. And the reason why we do these over and over is to get you familiar with the tools. Like this is your job. Like you, by the end of this, you need to be a pro. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I want to add in this one and not the dancer. I don't know why I like that. I like the crazy simplicity of it. Again, I'm just like, just a pixel. How much? And it's weird that it wants to snap a little bit higher than I want it to. But then that's where, if it snaps higher than you want it to, then use that direct select tool and use an arrow key. Boop. The arrow key is set really big. I don't like that. So you can turn that off, but I'm going to check it. Object, clipping mask, make. So like you got to remember, you are 100% in control of how everything looks. And you have all these tools at your disposal to do them. So between Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, you know, like that's what everybody has. And now I'll put these in. And now, just for the sake of me, I'm going to make them all the same height. So you just get them all lined up. Now you see the problem that I kind of stopped using this blockout idea is when you move something to the edge, then you can't see it. And so I sometimes don't really enjoy it. So I got all those selected. I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to align them all to the top edge. Then I'm going to just select each one and snap it. So all these are now the exact same height. So there's a continuity to them. They don't all have to be the same width, but they're at least all the same height. So I can work with that. And then if I wanted to, you could choose, I want them all the same width. But it's good that start with a structure that you want. And then I'm going to put them in, and I'm trying to think of a way to do it so I can have the text go around them, because I talked about this. So here's what I did. I'm just like, I don't know. So I started this one center, then I'm moving it over. So what if I made this tighter, and I'm going to distribute those, but actually, because I want to make them all bigger. So I'm going to now take these three right there. I'm going to, instead of like doing it myself, I'm going to line them all at the top, and then I'm going to distribute them evenly. Then I'm going to make sure like this is lined up with this one. I can even shift it over and bring it down. Okay. And then I'm going to take all of them and make them bigger. And I'm going to hold down Shift. When I do that, I'm always holding down Shift. And now I'm going to look at a relationship between this space, and I'm going to bring it down. All right. So I have my 5 examples. Now I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to go to my paragraph. And it's just a box. And let's change it to Helvetica Roman. So I'm going to quickly, I should be able to click on that. So that gives the reason I did this is because I don't have to type in. I have so many Helveticas, I don't have to type it in. And I can go Helvetica new, and I want this to be regular. And then in properties, I'm going to go down, and I actually want the fill to be black. And then I'm going to pull it down. Now I want the type to go and fill in this area. So instead of using, pulling it out like this and then having the computer try and do like image around, just make the box the way you want the box. I think when you're doing it and you're controlling it, you will have a better outcome. So what did I do there? Besides screw that up, I added 2 points right there and there, which allows me then to grab this part and pull it. And then I can line it up with that poster. And then I'm going to bring this up and line it up and then get that there. So now I know my typographic box will never get closer than this amount of space. Instead of it like trying to type in pixels, and then you have to go back, and I have to go back and adjust that thing and tap pixels. Here, I don't ever have to go back and find that like go around thing. I just like can just adjust it. Oh, I want it closer. I just grab that and then make it closer. I want it further. I do it. I don't have to go in and like sit there and readjust stuff. And then now I take my type and I got 2 paragraphs. So I'm going to make it smaller. And actually for everybody, I'm going to delete this so you guys can see this amazing thing. Look, and this is hilarious. So this is sometimes, as graphic designers run into, we get this word, which makes a giant space here, which I'm like, oh, I wish hyphens. Like, what do I do? I may then, what happens if I hit hyphenate? It can hyphenate it. So I'm going to remember that and be like, okay, I'm going to get the size that I want. I'm going to hit hyphenate and then go to unhyphenate it and know I'm going to manually put in the hyphen for that 50-letter word. So, and I'm going to go down. Now, the other one is people are jamming it. Like, go to 10, go to 9, go to 8. You can have small type. It does not need to be, you know, like as big as possible. Oh man, make it small, 10 point. And then here, so it's fitting good, right? It's looking good. And then all I'm going to do is like, I want a separation there. I'm not going to do it by hand. I'm going to do the paragraph thing. And let's just add it. How much do I want? And we can just keep it. And I'm not, there's no reason for me to like fill the space and be like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm going to like, I don't know, you know, do the super letting. I mean, sometimes it's nice, but sometimes like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I actually don't like this. So so the two versions, I'm going to go right here, and this is why it might not work. I'm going to hit shift and return. It's that soft return. So it's not bringing up the style. I don't know why it keeps asking about new device. And I'm going to look at it. I'm going to squint at it. I'm squinting. And I'm like, for this to work, I would have to knock this line down. So it would be a column and then an outbreak. But then it's not worth it. And I don't like the gappiness of it. So a couple minutes here. Boop. I'm going to go tighter. I think I want it like that. So it's like a column and then a big. Oh, I'm charging the iPad. Weird. All right. And then so I'm going to look at that. And I'm like, okay, it's looking good. Now, before I turn it in, I got one other thing I'm looking at. I have a line here. Okay. Top of the type. Boom, boom, boom. Now I'm looking here. And these images are here. But my paragraph is here. So what if I now worked with like that paragraph, and what if I just brought those 2 images down? How is that going to look? I think I want them down here. Oh. And that way it's kind of like these are in the middle of this one and these are in line with that one. And then I'm going to, you know, center it. I'm looking at it. I don't always do this one, presentation mode. You can look at it, still's got the, you know what? I want to bring this bar in line with this before I go. And you hit escape. So I'm going to make the title smaller and that bar smaller. No big deal. I'm just going to pull the bar until it clicks in. And then I'm just going to make this, again, I'm going to hold shift and just make it. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for a nice, even a space here that is approximately equal to the space there, upper and lower. You should always have just a little bit more visual space below than above. If you're so inclined, you can do that. And there we go. All right, so I did my piece and I got my templates. I got everything great. Everything is where it is. It's all good. So then I'm going to save this. This is GRDS 126. This is called, I don't feel like typing out the whole international. Swiss styles also. Swiss style example. Then I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As. I want a PDF. I'm going to do it to my desktop. I'm going to do it into 126 Swiss design. I'm going to hit export. And then look what I have created. PDF for printer and client. Now I made these. I hope they're right because I was screwing around when I made these. Client PDF for preview. Export PDF. Ooh, perfect. No, I don't see anything that I don't need to see. And it's all good. Then I just go File. Then I make sure I'm back on Illustrator. And I go File, Export, Export As. And because I saved everything like I taught how you do, I want to, oh, I got to do this one. This is print. And then I hit Export. And I find the one for PDF for printer. And I export the PDF. And there I have bleed, crop marks. Everything is in its place. And then when you zoom in, everything looks beautiful. You know, good enough. What do I did that? When you zoom in on this, it looks fantastic. But there we go. So from that last class where I taught you how to do the set up the PDFs, set them up so you can stop having to do anything and just go boom, boom. I use these. I don't know if you can rearrange that. Export, export as. I should see if you can arrange this. HTTP. No, it's not alphabetical order. Put yours at the lowest, but there might be a way to rearrange this. Oh, cancel. All right. So there's a little walkthrough. Again, just a step-by-step, including some new stuff, how I work, some things that hopefully make your designs easier, things to look at like, oh, I don't do it like that. I should try it like that. Part of the design is experimenting and figuring out what works best for you and for you to get what you want done. The other parts are getting some of that normal stuff done as quick as possible so you can move on to the design. But here's the thing, it is needed. So that's why we do it. That's it for me. I'll see you on the discussion boards and again on Sunday for session 6. All right, thanks.